request our host to allow Mr. Miraj Faheem to take on from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hidayat, for that. So I request Mr. Meraj Faheem, please start and enlighten us with his thoughts. Please, Mr. Meraj.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for having me. Thank you so much, Nawab Shah Alam, College of Engineering and Technology, for having me on this uh, panel for this webinar. I have always been an entrepreneur, and I'm a super strong proponent of student entrepreneurship. Right, since before my first startup, and the whole pain point and the whole problem that I had was with the job market. I was graduating. I graduated in 2009. I'm a biotech engineer by degree. I wanted to be a doctor, but had to take up engineering because I couldn't crack my medicine. And like most of our choices when we make while getting into a college are not decided by us, but by our guardians, our parents, our relatives, our neighbors. Apparently, the society, the trend, the culture, the place where you're coming from, the resources, all these things decide what you're going to do in the future. And apparently, somehow, all of that depends on what degree you're going to take. And all of this, technically doesn't make sense to me, with all due respect to the whole education system. This never made sense to me. And cherry on the top to me personally was I was graduating at one of those difficult times where the world was going through an economic recession. There was a huge economic recession in 2008, 2009. It was a global economic slowdown. There were job cuts, industries were shutting down. There was chaos everywhere in short. And that was one of those periods where I was in college, and technically everybody, when we used to interact with the seniors, and we had this super interesting conversation ke, future kiska acha hai. And apparently सारे इंजीनियरिंग स्ट्रीम्स का फ्यूचर ही अच्छा है, तो प्रेजेंट टेक्निकली किसी का भी अच्छा नहीं था. And this is, I'm talking about, this is super subjective. This is something, that the conversation that we used to have with the people that, I had access to and stuff like that. So that got me thinking for quite a bit. And, I was like, I'm not exactly sure if, and I was coming from biotechnology, engineering. I'm a biotech engineer, and my stream of engineering was super new, which means it was an industry creator, and it had to wait at least 2 decades for it to see the light of the day in terms of the job scene, in terms of the market opportunities, in terms of so many other things. And it seemed like a very long shot. And to be honest, I was not exactly sure about it. That was one of the main things that actually propelled me to kickstart thinking of what exactly can I do. And I think that is one of the most best decisions of my life I've ever made. Although I have made super blunder decisions after that, a lot of them. And I think I'm proud of all of them. Having said that, I guess that was one decision that started to make me think. Also, the fact that I was staying away from home, and I did my engineering in Chennai. So I used to live in a flat, and technically we were dependent on the pocket money that our parents send us every month. And it's not a super nice feeling asking your parents pocket money. And anybody here, if somebody agrees with me, I don't know. The moment you join engineering, you have this sense of you have grown up, sense of growing up, sense of independence, sense of you want to support your parents, you don't want to trouble your parents, you feel a little embarrassed asking them for pocket money, regardless of whatever valid reasons you're asking that for. It could be to join a coaching class, it could be to join a seminar, it could be to join a workshop, it could be for any valid reasons, it could be to build a project in your college, but you feel a little uneasy doing that when you're in engineering. And that was the same case with me. And I thought, let us try looking around how do people make money on internet. And I want to know from the audience if there's anybody here who did not search internet looking for how to make money on internet. If you did, just type in, yes, I did. Okay, let's be honest. A lot of us do, and because we might have heard someone making money on internet, and or someone we have seen somebody made money on internet, and technically there is something that we want to figure out, and a little bit of extra pocket money doesn't hurt anybody. So I used to do that a lot, and technically I had a challenge. I'm talking about 2005, 2009. And forget computer, I did not even forget internet. I didn't even have computer back then. So we used to go to a local neighborhood internet cafe, and I had a membership there. I used to spend all my time there. That's when I figured out currency markets, and I started trading, and that's when I started to experience how it looks like, right? And all of this started with zero money. There is a huge myth that we have to technically break, that you need money to start up, you need money to build a business, you need money to work on your ideas. No. Okay, you do not need money to break into the market. You do not need money to start up. You do not need money to build a project. All right, and we will look into what exactly, or how do you build a company without actually having with zero investment, basically. Right, we will talk into that. No, I did not trade stock market. It was foreign exchange trading, but I did not trade it. So I built algorithms that automatically executed trade on foreign exchange systems. And that was my very first product. But that came from a problem pain point, jahan pe I did not have a computer to constantly monitor trades. So I had to automate the system. And to automate the system, I needed to know how to code, which I did not know. And I taught myself how to code. And to be very honest, half of my code was copy pasted from internet, thanks to Google. So that was my very first algorithm, and that marked the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey. And to be very honest, guys, entrepreneurship or entrepreneur was not even a term back then, right? We are talking about what, 11, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Entrepreneurship was not even a term back then. People build businesses, and people were called businessmen. Okay, and we build businesses to make profit, not to get famous, which is technically the case these days. We build business because we start up because we have seen someone start up. We start up because we want to get famous. So technically we end up starting up for all the wrong reasons, but that was not the case. And thanks to media, things are changing. um, However, like I said, that is technically how it got started. My very first company was the same algorithm. The product was acquired by a Australia-based trading group in 2011, 12. After that, I started working on my second company, which was called Money Messenger. It was again a socially collaborative trading platform. I do not trade again. It was facilitating traders. It was facilitating investors and HNIs, basically focusing on the problem pain points of retail investors in a global market. That is what that is how technically I started. I raised seed fund for my second company, and technically foreign exchange trading was not legal in India, and we could not get through the compliances and legalities around it. So we had to shelve the product. And when I was working on my second company, which is Money Messenger, we had again this problem of finding good quality product developers. We had raised money investment, and we wanted to go really fast, hiring a lot of people, and all of that. We launched our first version of the product. It was getting good traction, and we had everything in place, but we just could not find good quality people. And I started looking for good quality product developers in the market, started talking to colleges, started talking to training institutes, and every traditional method of hiring we tried. Either the guys were not experienced to get started with the product development on day one, or they were asking too much. So either case, it did not work. I asked my fellow entrepreneurs, my friends who run their startups, and they had the same problem. That's when I started looking for the more mature startup ecosystems like the Silicon Valley, right? I wanted to know the Silicon Valley of doing things, way of doing things. And that's when I figured out they had something called coding boot camps, wherein startups can, directly pick up guys, and they start working on day one because they have been through a long intensive program. I started looking for coding boot camps in India. I couldn't find any, and that was a eureka moment for me. I was like, a country of more than 100 crore people, and if we do not have a coding boot camp, which technically are going to be the powerhouses of generating intellectual capital for the country, we are not going to be in a super good position. And that's where we said, let's do a coding bootcamp. And that's how the hacking school started, which was India's first coding bootcamp. And right now it's been over 6 years, and we are India's first and the finest coding bootcamps. And we have had a great journey. We just got acquired a few months ago. We sold it to iCollege Australia, an Australia-based edutech company. Having said that, the whole point I'm trying to make here is college is the best place for you guys to start up for a variety of reasons. I will look into the reasons after a short presentation that my colleague Marzia will share with you. Marzia is again coming from, she's an engineering student just like you guys, but then she joined Adventure Park, and I think Marzia can take over from here and share what it's all about.
Yeah. So a very good evening to all the faculty members, the student body members, and all my dear friends. This is Marzia Khan from Adventure Park, and I'm going to talk about what entrepreneurship is basically about and how you should, take your first step towards it, how you should approach it. So let me just turn it on. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So usually as college students, we usually have that one thing in our mind that we think is going to mark the beginning of our, brand new career. So yes, I'm talking about the placements. We usually think how we can bag the best placement, out of our college. So there is another road that is less taken, and that is the road of entrepreneurship. So that aptly describes my title for today. That is Think Different, Think Entrepreneurship. So where does the journey of an entrepreneur start? It all starts with an idea. So there's this one person who had an idea that he thinks has a potential of going big in the future, and he starts working on it, and that is what basically makes him an entrepreneur. So it all starts with an idea. So think about this. Do you have an idea? Dive deep into your head and think of all the crazy yet innovative ideas you've got. Now, what if I told you one of these ideas could possibly turn you into a billionaire? Yep, you heard that right, a billionaire. So how do you do that? So find a problem for a billion people, sell your solution for $1 each. So simple math, that brings you $1 billion. It doesn't have to be too pricey. You just have to find a problem that a lot of people are into, and you charge them $1 each, and that will bring you $1 billion. But you may be having a lot of different ideas. So how do you figure out which idea is the best one to work with? Which idea has the potential of bringing you $1 billion? That brings me to the next slide, and that is differentiating between a good idea and a bad idea. So I've got 3 points over here that will help you figure it out. The first one is figuring out your passion. So your idea has to be in a field which you're very passionate about, because entrepreneurs are basically innovating new things, and innovating new things takes a lot of experiments. You may go right, you may go wrong, and it's all about the ups and downs. And that is why entrepreneurs are rightly described as risk takers. So when you're passionate about something, that is doing something even if you're not being paid for it. So even if you get a blow from it, you'll get back up because this is something you're passionate about. Otherwise, if you're not, just one blow, something goes wrong and you'll just back out. So first thing is figure out your passion. The second thing that you need to be doing is look into the future. Does your idea has a potential in a few more years of time? Does it bring forwards, because nobody wants to go backwards. We want something that takes us to new heights. So you have to look into the future. Is this something that can go big? Will people need it in a few years of time? And here's a fun fact: Google was a student PhD research project. Keyword student, because students can do it. It was a student PhD project, as in they never had this thing. The co-founders of Google were not really looking to start up. They had the data, they had their experiments, they ran their trials and everything, and then they figure out, hey, this is something that people would actually be into in the future. And often we do find ourselves going online to search that very silly question we have in our head. We use Google almost daily, multiple times of day, times of the day. So that is something you need to look into the future. Now the third point is data speaks. Run a trial, get practical with the idea. Nothing can give you a better evaluation of your idea than getting practical with it. So run a trial, analyze the data that you receive, analyze the feedbacks, and that will help you figure out whether you should pivot to something else or you should optimize your product or service. So the customers are the greatest source of helping you with this. So get practical with it and run a trial. Those were my 3 points. Now, where should you start? Your college is the best place to start. And why is that? That is because you've got your subject matters over here in college. They're very well versed in all of the respective subjects, I'm sure. You've got your resources. You've got your eSelf lab. You've got, you can run a lot of experiments, run beta testing. And why is college a good place to run experiments? That is because you have a lot of contacts in college. You have a lot of friends, you have a lot of faculty members, lecturers and all that. So you can just, when you're starting, these are the people who will provide you the feedback on your first version, on the first version of your, product or service, whatever you're building. So this feedback is going to help you a lot. Your sample audience is already present inside the college. You can just ask them to try it out. Are they really looking forward to more of it? Do they want something to be different, or are they not into it at all? So that was the third point, that is experimenting and analyzing. And you can begin this in your college itself. You can hit your friend up and tell them, hey, this is something I'm working with. Can you please provide me with feedback? Is this something that you're into? And that's going to help you a lot. So here's an excerpt from a book called How to Turn Down $1 Billion. It's a book that that is about how Snapchat came into being. Okay, so your side projects are toys that prepare you for bigger games. So it doesn't matter if you go successful with your plan, with your idea, or you fail in it. It does not matter, because you guys are students. We are all students, and we have this unfair advantage over others being a student, that nobody is going to bug you ki, why did this go this way, why did that happen? Because as soon as we finish our graduation, let's face it, people, our neighbors, our relatives, everybody's going to ask us, what are you doing with your life? So you're still in college. They won't hold you accountable for it. You can try a different, work on your different ideas and, build your mindset. And it's okay if you fail. It's all right. You have nothing to lose. So that is something that you should be, going for. You should be experimenting. And if you go successful, that's great. You have your startup right from the college itself. Right? And also, like Meraj said, he also started up when he was in college. So that's another proof right there. So where can you find help to start up? So you can find help from business incubators. Now we're from Adventure Park, and the thing that why we say you can find help from Adventure Park specifically is because Adventure Park is a student-focused entrepreneur. We can relate better with you because we are by the students and for the students. I'm an engineering student myself, so we have a team of engineering and degree students, and we are going to be looking at things from your perspective. So it's going to be much more comforting for you. Okay, and we have three main programs to provide. The first one is the pre-incubation program. The second one is the incubation program, and the third one is the acceleration program. So the first pre-incubation program is all about preparing you for the incubation program. It is a 3-month long program that is free of cost, that can help you evaluate the best ideas. If you have multiple ideas, we'll help you evaluate and find out the best idea that you can work on. And even if you don't have an idea, it's okay. If it's vague and even if you don't have it, it's all right. You can completely apply for it, and we'll have an interview and you can get on board with us. So it's not about even if you're passionate about entrepreneurship, that's all right. We can work on it. So that's the pre-incubation program, developing your mindset about it, developing how you should be approaching any idea. In fact, even if you don't go ahead for the incubation program, we'll prepare you so well that even if you have another idea, you can completely figure out how to work on it. Okay? That's the pre-incubation program. And the incubation program is where we get super duper practical with your startup, with your product or service. We'll practically build it with you, right? So it's where the main incubation process happens, and we'll help you figure out the best way to execute it. It's all about execution, the second program. And the third thing, the acceleration program. So when you're ready to launch your startup, since they are very, like newborn babies, they are very vulnerable, and they need that starting initial kick in the market. So that's what the acceleration program is all about. Okay, and for the applications, you can our application, you can fill out the application forms on our website. It's noted down here. You can take a screenshot if you want. adventurepark.com. Yeah, so what do we have to offer? So here are a few main offerings of ours. The first one is the mentorship. We have a lot of mentors in every specific different field for the incubation process. And these mentors are also founders. They're also founders, so they can relate with you very well. And we have the incubation process, obviously. And then we have partnerships. We'll help you form partnerships, and we'll help you access the market, and also funding. So the thing about funding is that if you're an edtech startup that Adventure Park is really into, then we'll do the funding for you guys. But if you're not, if it's something that we're really not into, then that's all right. We can help you get into contact with people who can fund for you, the funders, but it's your job to pitch out your idea to them. Okay, so these were the 5 main offerings of ours. So it all boils down to doing something that matters. Entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, takes doing something that people want. If you build something that has no market, that people are not into, it's actually a waste of your skills and time and stuff like that. It's a waste of a lot of skills, your passion and everything. So since you put in a lot of effort, definitely you want benefits out of it. So it's all about doing something that matters, making something that people love, that people want. So that sums it up. And you can also find us online on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also our website, the website. And I'll drop in the usernames for Instagram in the chat box, so you can reach out to us. Also, I'll drop in Meraj's Instagram username. So yeah, so please go ahead if you're passionate about being an entrepreneur. If you've got multiple ideas, also even if you've got no idea at all, it's all right. Just fill in the form online on our website, and we'll get back to you. We'll call you for the interviews, and when you're selected, out of those 25 startups, 5 startups will be sent forward for the main incubation program. So yeah, please check it out and do let us know if you're into it.
Thank you so much, Marzia, for the presentation. Now, let me take a step back, guys, for you. Why exactly are we doing Adventure Park, and how did Adventure Park, come into being, and why technically Adventure Park is a good idea? So first and the most important thing is to be a part of, the incubation program at Adventure Park, you do not have to leave your college, or, you don't have to compromise anything in your college. It does not affect with your academics. It does not affect with your ability to deal with your college, or you're doing some kind of injustice with your college. We work together with college. So when I say we work together with college, this is technically to empower college and provide um, with things that technically that are not the primary focus areas for college. A college is a place where you go and you're going to engineering college for your engineering degree, not exactly for your entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial degree. And that's exactly where we come into picture. I was part of the Telangana State Innovation Cell, which is part of the IT Ministry. And when I was working with the IT Ministry there, one of the most important things that we figured out was the lack of innovation and entrepreneurship, encouragement in innovation and entrepreneurship in school and college level. And that was one of the most important focus areas that we picked up. And this has been the focus area for the government of India and the state government of Telangana for quite some time now. There are a lot of grants, there are a lot of funds, there are a lot of programs that the government has come up with, but technically the execution of these things has been a big concern, big challenge. So that's exactly where we designed a program that does not interfere with your academics, and technically helps you work on things that you are passionate about the most inside your college. You don't have to worry about anything else, right? This is a super independent program, which means, like I said, I'm repeating this word because there's been a lot of confusion that it might affect with your college, or you don't you have to say no to college and stuff like that. No, there's nothing like that. We already have 25. Our first cohort of 25 startups will be graduating next month. And coincidentally, one of our startup just got featured in Indian Express today. You guys can go and check out. It's called Majdoor. And so we have already incubated 25 startups. This first cohort of companies will be graduating next month, and we are super confident about most of them going to the next round of incubation and attracting good market interest and traction. Having said that, our incubator is also the place that is connected with all the other 46 local Hyderabad-based incubators and more than 50 non-local national incubators, which means this is your one, stop shop to expanding pan-India. It could be for partnerships, it could be for mentorship, it could be for funding, it could be for, pilot projects, it could be for let's say industry partnerships or industry collaborations. You name it, you technically name it, and we can get you that. And that is one of the most important things that is going to help you add value to you at this stage. I cannot stress enough on the fact that this is the best time for you guys to start up. The moment you step out of college, the whole scene will change. Everybody will be most interested in, और आपका बेटा क्या कर रहा, आपकी बेटी क्या कर रही, what exactly are you doing, are you writing gate, did you get campus placement, did you get a job, look at him, look at her, and all sorts of pressure starts building on you. Forget entrepreneurship, you can't even do well in your job because somebody else has a better job, right? So let's be super realistic, let's be super practical, and see, or evaluate your options. What exactly should you be doing? For students who are in first, second, third year, even if you start from today, even if you start working on today, I'll come on to the importance of an idea and what exactly is going to be playing the most critical role. I'll talk on that as well. But then let's say you have started working on your idea today. Next 3 years are going to be more than enough for you guys to actually come to a conclusion if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. And this is also going to be a point that will add and contribute to your skill sets. Building a startup is not a one skill set game. It's not like uh, fundamentals of X and then you're just going and working on it. It's everyday learning, which means you will be working on validating your idea. It could be working on acquiring customers, it could be marketing, advertising, product development, it could be technology, it could be sales, it could be support. It's technically, a wholesome set of skill set landing right into your pocket when you start working on an idea, when you start executing an idea, right? And this is one of those skill sets, my friends, that literally every company values the most, right? God forbid, even if the idea that you're working on fails by the time you graduate, you would have gained 3 years of experience running a company, and most of the companies and startups would love to hire you, right? Technically, what I'm saying is, even if your company fails, God forbid, that is not what we want. But let's say for whatever reasons it did, right? You are still going to have the most, strong differentiator from others in the job market who are just wanting to get a job based on their degrees, right? Technically, that is what I'm talking about, and that's something I want you guys to look into. When I say I want you to look into, start focusing on something that you are really passionate about. I'm 100% sure there is at least 50% of the audience here has an idea, or they might have ever considered that, I have an idea, maybe it is a good idea to try, but I have no clue how to do it. Anybody in the audience who have had an idea and had no clue how to get started? Just type in. Okay. Only one, two, three. Have idea but don't have brains. You have it, but you don't know that you have it. Okay. Yes. Yes. Guys, come on. Let's be honest. Okay. Let's open up. Uh, technically, literally everybody is, scared of, if I talk about my idea, maybe someone will steal my idea. If I talk about my idea, people will laugh at it. If I talk about my idea, pata nahi samne wala kya sochta, piche wala kya sochta, bazu wala kya sochta. There are so many thoughts that, we technically get engulfed into, right? And eventually we drop the whole thing. And this is one of those major differences between India's and USA's startup ecosystem. I lived there for a little while. I was there in Silicon Valley, and I was there only to study what exactly is the difference between the whole culture ecosystem. So I went to Stanford, and when I was there, my only point of observation was, what makes Stanford different from every other university in the world? Why exactly Stanford is an ecosystem which produces billion-dollar companies? I'm not sure if you guys know this, but this is a fun fact. If Stanford were a country, Stanford would have been one of the world's top 5 richest countries in the world. Technically, based on the GDP of the companies that Stanford students go out and create, Stanford would have been one of the world's top 5 richest countries, guys, based on GDP, right? So that's the value Stanford students are adding to the world's economy, and most of them come from USA, and that's exactly what makes USA's economy powerful. How powerful it is, that is a completely debatable topic. That is a completely different story. We are not going to talk about that. The focus here is what exactly makes that educational institutions. It almost has the same buildings. It has the same people. It has the same classrooms, it has the same canteen, it has the same roads. Literally everything is the same. Air is the same, water is the same. Then what exactly is the difference? The difference is the mindset. The difference comes from the ecosystem. The difference comes from the support that everybody is willing to offer if someone is willing to work on something, right? People do not hold people back because of, let's say, technical reasons, or let's say formalities, that you have to do this or you have to do that, regardless of if it's important or if it is actually necessary or not. You have to do a lot of things, and that is a cultural barrier that we have here in India, which is technically we are seeing it going at a good speed. That, my friends, is one of the most important differences. Now, with you having an ESL in your college, with you having such an amazingly supportive faculty and management, with you having all the resources available to you locally in Hyderabad, such as our incubator or any other incubator, so as to say, there technically is no reason for you guys to not consider starting up. There is no reason for you guys to say, nahi mere ko chance nahi mila, or I did not get an opportunity. You can never say that. Now after this session, you technically lose the point, where you can say, I have no idea how to go ahead with my idea. You can never say that, because now if you have an idea and if you don't know how to go ahead with your idea, you have to reach out to us and we will help you figure it out. We will help you talk. If you guys need proof of concept, you can follow us on our Instagram. You can ping me on my Instagram. I think Marzia has shared the IDs there. You can talk to our startups, you can ping them, you can check how their experience has been. You can check the kind of support we offer. You can check the kind of value add we bring on the table, right from let's say discussing your idea, validating your idea, until getting you your first 10 customers. How exactly do we focus on that? How do we go ahead with it? How do we go about it, right? We look into all of this with great detail, intrinsic and extrinsic details, right? And these are those most important things that you would need every single day when you wake up. When as an entrepreneur, life is going to be super difficult. Okay, it's not a bed of roses. People are not going to welcome you with open hands, say, okay, hey, you have decided to become an entrepreneur, I will support you. That's not what the world is going to do, right? The world will continue to be the same, which is hard. Okay, and it's hard for everyone. It's not just because for you or me. Okay, look at this fact. When IBM was ruling the world, right, with its mainframe computers, I'm talking about 1960s and 70s and 80s, that's when Apple started, right? And that was a time when Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs were still in college, right? And IBM had no clue that there are a couple of guys in a college somewhere, working on something that will not just create a new industry, but also dramatically affect and change the fate of IBM itself. And I am a very firm believer of this concept, right? The only reason how Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs actually made all of this happen is because of the support, because of the undying determination that they had, the undying persistence that they had. No matter what, I'm going to make it happen. Even after Steve Jobs was ousted from his own company, right? He never gave up, right? And this is something that I'm a firm believer of. I really think somewhere in some college, somewhere there is a student, right? There are students who are going to change the industry, who are going to change the face of industry, who are going to change a particular let's say area of industry, going to find a problem statement, and which is going to change, let's say, India's economy. It's going to create tons of jobs, right? Same was the case of Google. When Google when Larry Page and Sergey Brin were working on their PhD project, Google was a PhD project, they hardly thought it was going to be $1 billion company, right? And now Google is what? If Google were a country, then Google would have been again top 5 richest countries in the world, right? That is what we are talking about. And to be honest, I think one of the most noblest things that you and I can do on earth is create jobs, create livelihood for people who cannot create livelihood for others, right? If you do this, technically, I think you have a confirmed place in heaven. Technically, that is what it means to me when I say creating livelihood and creating jobs for people. So every entrepreneur by DNA and by definition is a social entrepreneur, right? So technically, if you're creating jobs, if you're creating livelihoods, if you're adding to country's economy, then you are an asset to the country. And that is exactly what we want to become. We don't want to go out in the market and add to the numbers of jobless people, jobless graduates, jobless this, jobless that. Let's try and focus on becoming job creators, right? There is no compulsion that you have to do it, but you have to try it. If you're not going to try it, you will regret it. And trust me, the cost of regret is the highest of all. never live a life with regrets. Okay, you will not be happy with regrets. So go about it. Don't worry about things. There are a lot of people who are here to support you. Your college management, we Adventure Park is supported and hosted by MS Educational Institutions, a 30-year-old group of institutions which graduated more than 70,000 students and 30,000 currently enrolled students. So we have an ecosystem of our own inside Adventure Park, right? And we will do everything that we can to bring all of that to your disposal, right? It's just that you have to take that step, the plunge, right? Move on, pick it up, make it happen, think about it. Okay, don't worry about a lot of things, and if you will have questions, right? And I am here to answer your questions. With that, I think let's open up for Q&A. How to have a business plan? A business plan is a subset of, thank you. A business plan is a subset of your business model, right? So when you focus on building your business model, which is derived from your idea, right? You will build your business plan, your revenue model, your financial model, your marketing model. So many different things come into picture. But then there are a lot of methodologies. For example, if you just have an idea and you want to validate your idea with a business plan, then let's say you do it with business model canvas, right? You can do that with Jira board. So there are quite a few things that you can use. How to get an idea? So I got a message in private asking how to get an idea. I will take 2 minutes to answer this question. And this is a really important question. How do you get an idea, right? Ideas are everywhere. And anybody who has taken a shower will have an idea. Let's not say that I never had an idea. So technically, an observant mind is what you need to come up with an idea, right? You have to have an observant mind. Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin only and only because he was observant. This guy had a small laboratory somewhere in Ireland or Finland. I'm sorry, I don't remember the country. He comes back from holidays, sees, petri dishes, used petri dishes lying on his lab table. He takes the petri dishes, taking them to the sink to wash them off. And that's when he sees a pattern. He observes a pattern. Now, just imagine what would have happened if he had thrown the petri dishes in the sink to wash without observing, right? The world would have not got penicillin, or would have got penicillin late, right? And penicillin is that antibiotic that saved more than 90% of the casualties in World War II. So having, discovering or building something that is going to save life, nothing else can be, you cannot have a bigger sense of purpose in your life, right? So that is how you get ideas. You get ideas by observing problem statements. And if you're living in a country with 100 crore people, then there are 100 crore problem statements, guys. Sabke paas problem hai, right? Just focus on finding the biggest problem statement that you can find and work on it. How to convince angel investors or venture capitalists for funding? Don't convince them for funding. Don't even go to them for funding. This is what I was saying. If you have an idea, you don't necessarily need funding. Funding needs when you want to scale up your idea. Funding needs when you already have proof of concept. You have validated your prototype, you have validated customers, you have validated interest, from the market. That's where angel investors or VCs will come for funding, and they will line up outside your house to fund you. Okay, that's their business model. They make money when they put money in a rock solid business model. So what do you need to do? You need to build a rock solid business model. You need to build a rock solid product that becomes really integral part of people's life, and people can't live without your product. That's what you have to become, right? And I strongly recommend you guys to take the whole, funding part from your minds. That is not what you need, guys. You do not need funding at idea stage. Please don't do that. How to find co-founder or team members in startup? Now, again, this is a very important thing. Team plays a super critical role in building a profitable company, and colleges are the best places for you to find like-minded, co-founders. You have to find people who you can sit down and eat with, sit down and talk about all the things in the world apart from work, right? You have to find such people. And I strongly believe colleges are the best places for you to find co-founders or team members. But having said that, there is one fact: great companies are built by great people. And how do you find great people? Only great people attract great people, which means you have to become great enough for you to attract great team members or great co-founders. And that's where your train of success will take off. I have an idea. I think this is an incomplete question.
Also, Mr. Miraj, can you shed light on how to test the feasibility of an idea?
So there are so many, frameworks and templates and methodologies to actually validate your idea. It technically depends on what kind of an idea you're working on. It could be a B2C, it could be a B2B, it could be a B2G, it could be a retail one. It could be, there are so many, categories that it technically depends on what method do you use to validate an idea. But the best part is it is all sorted, right? You pick up a method and you validate your idea, you have results, right? And all of these results have to be data backed. All of your decisions have to be data backed. So you get data. And this is one of those important things that we also, work at Adventure Park, validating your idea so that you don't end up, working on something that does not have, a market, that does not have demand, that does not have, let's say, takers, right? You live in Alice in the Wonderland, like Alice in the Wonderland, assuming yours is the best idea in the world, right? So you have to validate it. And like I said, there are so many techniques depending on what idea it is, and we can talk about that offline if you want to. Is any registration required to start the business? To build your product and prototype, you don't need any registration. However, for you to accept your first customer, that's when you need your company to be registered. And that is also, that will also be taken care. We will help you with the company registration. What kind of company should you be registering, and the compliances, the legalities around it. We will be advising you with all of that things. But technically you don't need a company until and unless you have your first customer ready. Until then, you can you should focus on only two things: building your market, building your product, in that order. You, sir, I have an idea. I have also made a prototype of it. I think that's incomplete.
Can you shed light on B2B, B2C ideas, testing the feasibility of an idea? We have a question here. What is B2B? What is
Yeah, I'm
B2C?
taking the questions in order so that I don't miss anything. So how can I, okay, so there's a second part to it. How can I convince people to invest in? So you have a prototype, and how do you convince people to invest in it? Instead of convincing people to invest in it, why don't you convince your customers to buy it? That's the most ideal scenario. Like I said, do not just take away the mindset of wanting to have an investor for your company. Take that mindset away, please. Aim towards having a company that you own 100%. Aim towards building a company that will have, that customers will love. Okay. And that's a hard thing to do. Finding investors is easy. Investors will run behind you if you have a good company. I have been an entrepreneur. I have built more than 4 companies. I've sold more than 2 companies. I know this, right? I did not raise any funding for the hacking school. And when I got an exit from the hacking school, I sold 80% of the company, right? I still hold 20% of my own company. So that is the most ideal scenario, guys. Do not give away your company. Do not look for investors at prototype or idea stage. That is they will end up ridiculously exploiting you and your companies. Don't do that. Okay. You guys are worth much, much, much more. The whole, thought process of getting an investor at this stage is because, you're not confident enough if it's going to work or not, right? And आपको investor चाहिए so that your risks are hedged. So don't have that mindset, and we will help you, figure out how that works. Don't worry. I have answered this question: angel investors and VCs for funding. When I decided to start in education industry, a startup, they judge via academic marks. Oh boy. Nobody can judge you based on your academic marks. Okay. Nobody has the right to judge anybody actually based on anything. And if somebody is judging you based on your academics, then to be very honest, they are aliens and they don't understand how this thing works. So technically they are a wrong fit for your whatever you're doing. Don't even bother doing it. I'm a biotech engineer and I run India's first coding boot camp. Okay, that does not mean, so technically according to this logic, I should have had a computer science engineering degree to run a coding boot camp, which is definitely not the case. Would it take 5 to 10 years to find 5 to 10 team members in some cases? Not really. It should not take 5 to 10 years to find 5 to 10 team members. But yeah, if you're technically, really you have something that nobody understands and, nobody understands or nobody cares, maybe that's when it will take so long, but technically it should not take so long. And to be very honest, you can build, $1 million companies, a million or a decent sized company by having a team of 5 to 10. Of course, it depends on what type of company it is, but in general, I'm speaking, right? If you're a product company, then you won't need more than 10 people, and that should be good. How can I put my product into the market? So your go-to-market strategy is what you will be, designing right from the idea stage of your company. So when you get an idea, that's when you get started with your go-to-market strategy. You decide on how exactly am I going to figure out my market, how exactly am I going to find my customers. Again, there are so many methods to do that. There are so many frameworks to do that, so many techniques, well-established techniques to do that. We can we look into that based on, again, which sector, which market, which segment your idea is focusing on. Majorly, again, B2B B2C kind of a thing. I'm trying to, okay, what if I want to do a business which already exists, which will it be successful? Okay, this is a nice question. Arshia asked this question. What if I want to do a business which already exists? Will it be successful? God willing, yes, it will be successful. Competition has got nothing to do with your idea. Definitely, you should figure out an idea that is unique. It is advisable to find ideas that are unique, that are fresh, that does not have a lot of competition. But trust me, again, if you're in India, then you have a huge market and the market is big enough for everybody to make money. Okay, that is the first thing, which means your chances of being successful is super high. Second thing, having competitor, and if your competitor is successful in that area, then that is one of the best customer validations or market validations or idea validations that you have. अगर आपका competitor successful है, इसका मतलब ये है कि आपका idea successful हो सकता if you execute it in the right way. ये होने के बाद, after you figured this bit out, what you also have to focus on is having a differentiator in your idea. Okay, how can you be at least 20% better than your competitor? And when I say better, I'm not talking about offering discounts. Okay, offering discounts is not being better, and pricing or discounting method is not a competitor strategy, is not a differentiator strategy. So you have to focus on being 20% better than your competitor. I'm just going fast with the questions because I have a lot of them, but guys, feel free to ping me on Instagram. I take a lot of questions there. I do frequent ask me anything AMAs and Q&A sessions there, so more than happy to answer your questions in detail there.
Hi, Mr. Meraj. This is Dr. Syed Mujahid Hussaini, Director
Hello.
of Shalom Khan College of Engineering. Very nice to see you here. I think I'm very happy to listen you from last almost 50 minutes. Definitely, the number of questions are there. I think each questions, if you're going to answer, I think it will take very long time. Maybe with 1 or 2 questions, maybe we can wind up this session, what I feel.
Okay, I'll take last 2 questions and
Yeah,
we can wrap it up because I don't see I can finish all the questions in 4 minutes. Okay, so we have, if we are planning for a product, so Arvind asks, if we are planning for a product-based company which is already in the market, then doing it on our own method, which have a product like that, how can I competitive in market? Okay, I answered this question, Arvind. Your product should be 20% better than your competitor, and pricing based or discounting is not a differentiator strategy. Having said that, there are so many reasons, or there are so many ways that you can make a product stand out in the market. And one of those ways is, I call it palindromic method, wherein you look at a completely different, side of the tunnel that your competitor is, looking at. You can probably, trickle down or decide on a particular niche that you want to focus on to. And when you pick up your niche, you have to, like I said, 20% better, at least 20% better for you to make a difference, for you to make or bring get a mind share on your audience's minds, right? So that is something that I would recommend, and that's the best competitor strategy. At which stage should you patent your idea? So patents at one point in time used to have a lot of value. Okay, I myself had a patent filed and published in, I think, 2010. But then after that, I did not even care to get the patent examined, and I just let it go, because patents, definitely, if you're working on an electronic or a hardware based invention, it might help. But then if you're working on something that is absolutely niche, then technically patents do not hold a lot of value. And patents can only come into picture if you are focusing on getting royalty by offering them to large corporate companies, large conglomerates. If you have something that you think Reliance can take benefit from, then patent it, and then just ask for royalties. So technically that is how patents work. But then it would depend on what idea it is. It's very subjective for me to say how it is. A lot of mobile companies, Apple, Samsung, one of the most important differentiator, or upper hand that these guys have on each other, is by having higher number of patents, right? So mobile, if you are a mobile hardware company, then your focus is on inventing something and then getting first rights on it, so that your competitors do not copy it. Mainly because mobile is a huge industry. It's more than $100 billion industry, right? So that's when it's going to make sense. What is B2B, B2C? B2B is a business model. B2B, B2C is a type of business model, which means you're selling, your business sells to another business, or your business sells to another customer. And there's another one called B2G, which is your business sells to government, right? B2B is business to business. B2C is business to customer. B2G is business to government. I'm trying to start an education domain, but Professor Judge via academic marks. I'm trying to start an education domain. I don't understand this question. Like I think I have already answered this question. Your academics have got nothing to do with what idea you want to work on. Definitely, if you're working on something that has a little bit of background on what you're doing, then you will have more credibility on it. But then technically, doesn't really matter. It's really good to see that the government has started all those initiatives, but don't you think the college university system needs to change so we can focus on side hustles? That's exactly where we come into picture, Mohammad Khalid. I am wanting you to work on your side hustles, and trust me, the government is with you on it. Okay, I work with the principal secretary himself, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, and he's a brilliant bureaucrat, right? He's one of those support systems that will that you can be rest assured that he wants you to work, right? And that's exactly what we are talking. Colleges have to have incubation centers, colleges have to have innovation cells, but not a lot of colleges understand how to run incubation centers, where I come into picture, right? I will help you design your incubation program. I will help you design your curriculum, and we can make it happen, right? Just start working on it. I totally agree with what Khalid says.
I think, can we go ahead with a few more questions, or we can stop here? Because almost 5-1.
Yeah, but I am not sure if I can take, but I'll go and pick the last one, maybe.
Yeah. Better to take one last one question. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. I am an inter second year student, kind of young in the stock, but I was interested. My question is, does startup has an age? This question is asked by Abdul Mannan Beg. No, Abdul Mannan Beg, age has got nothing to do with your, entrepreneurial capabilities, your innovation capabilities, and with your entrepreneurial skill set. Age has got nothing to do with it, right? If you think you're working on something that really is going to, solve a lot of problems for a lot of people, then do not, focus on anything else. Just focus on making it happen. Just focus on building it, and you will be good to go, God willing. You don't have to worry about, people telling you you're still in inter, you're still young, this or that. Just ignore.
Yeah, I think we can stop here, right? Because a lot of questions are coming. I think maybe you can separately you take on your social. Already, I think your team member already shared your social platform,
Yes.
so maybe they can ask the question to you. And
Yes.
really very wonderful session. You're given eyewitness from last 1 hour. I think this is which is required now in our curriculum. Actually, in our college also, just now, last but one question, whatever this one person is asked, one participant is asked about the ecosystem in colleges and universities. Yeah, definitely,
Yes.
it is changing now. That is representing this webinar. So we, the college, is conducting a session on entrepreneurship. So
Absolutely.
we are starting also in our college. I'm very fortunate and very happy to convey to the participant as well as to you, Mr. Meraj. We having one innovation and incubation cell center in our college. So in that we are encouraging students to go for their own startups. So
That's wonderful.
definitely, I think this your session is very much useful for especially students who's the first year, second year, and third year, because maybe they can think they're having one more year to the in college, so that they can think with their classmates, with their friends, and maybe some kind of organization. Maybe it is whatever I'm telling. Maybe it is very big, but it is even one person or 0.1% like Facebook, Google, Microsoft. Maybe one if come out from this, definitely I think this is they can
That's a
change. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's what we have to have the mindset of finding that one
Yes.
Google, Facebook, Microsoft from our campus, and I really think we can do that. We have great talent in there. We just have to channelize those energies in the right direction, right? And I'm more than happy to be of any help to you, to your college, to your management, to the students, right? Feel free to please getting in touch with my team, with me. More than happy to be of assistance.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for your offer. Definitely, I will be in touch with you because I'm heading this incubation and innovation cell. So as a director of college, I'm heading this one. So inshallah, I'm going to talk to you, and whatever the possible way we can, inshallah, definitely we're going to collaborate on this and beneficial for you, your team members, as well as for our students. Inshallah, I will look forward to you in future.
Sure, sir. So your incubation center is in good hands, guys. Make the most use of it.
Hope so.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Now I request Abdul Rahim to please take this session to forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Meraj Faheem, for all the insights and making sure that what tools we have available, we usually don't realize what we have. So students, they can get motivation from the college and from incubation centers like yours. So if we can officially collaborate in future with our college, so that would be a good thing. So
Good luck.
thank you all. I would request Mr. Ammar Ghauri to give a vote of thanks, please.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today for this session. My name is Abdullah Hori, and I'm a research coordinator at Entrepreneurship Cell at Nawab Shalam Khan College of Engineering and Technology. I would like to express my gratitude towards Mr. Meraj Faheem for taking the time out to share his thoughts and experiences on benefits of starting up at college. I would also like to extend my gratitude towards Ms. Martia as well for taking us through the process of incubation with the help of Adventure Park. Since we are entering a new growth phase with startups and entrepreneurship booming in India, your comments were quite timely, and I believe we can benefit immediately from the methods you suggested for developing an idea into a viable organization. Your enthusiasm towards the development of young entrepreneurs was contagious, and we look forward to using your suggestions as an impetus, if you will, in our pursuit for becoming an entrepreneur. I would also like to thank our audience for taking time out to join us today for the session. I would like to conclude with a thank you note for my colleagues and our HOD, Dr. Mujahid Hussain, for organizing this inspiring and informative session. Thank you again for your contribution.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
I would also like to thank Rana Ali Khan, who is not a direct participant of this webinar, but she has done a lot.
She's actually a direct.
collaborating with me.
She's actually a direct organizer of this thing. So yes, the team behind it.
Yeah, all the team of Adventure Park.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I would also like to remind everyone to please fill the feedback link, which is in the chat section, and so that you can get your certificates emailed.
And also, we will use the feedback form submissions to let you guys know about the next incubation program dates, so that you don't miss on it. So please don't miss out on filling the feedback form. Thank you.
Also, Mr. Miraj is active on social media. You can reach out to him on Instagram. I've seen his social media accounts. He answers questions, and you can socialize with him. Thank you so much.